You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon, welcome back. Today is Friday. Everybody's been working for the weekend. And here it is. It is the first day of July, also, second half of the year, 2022. S&P 500 has dropped more in the first half of this year than it has in over 50 years, and I believe Michael posted that the Dow has dropped in the first half of this year more than it has in 60 years. That's a lot. So, welcome to the show. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. We do 2 live broadcasts each and every day. The first live broadcast is for members only in our live training room and those who are taking advantage of their 1-week free trial. At 11:30 a.m. Eastern, that broadcast ends. We take a 30-minute break. We come back at 12 noon Eastern for the afternoon broadcast. Now, there's 2 ways to join the afternoon broadcast because it's open to the public. You can go to our homepage at cfrn.net. On the right-hand side of the page, click the big microphone, follow the instructions. You'll be registered in about 30 seconds. You can also go to our site, eminitrainingschool.com, where you sign up for the free trial. And Michael will show you how to do that later in the show. There's a link there that also allows you to go through that 30-second registration process. Once you've done that, going forward, every trading day, you'll get an email right before the show starts. And in that email is a link. When you're ready to join the show, all you have to do is click the link. Now, the reason that's the better way is because it gives you access to the question box so that you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. Of course, there'll be days you're away from the office, away from the desktop. This time of year, holiday weekend, maybe you're headed out on vacation already. To still join the show, simply point any internet-connected device, the browser, to youtube.com/CFRN. Not only do we broadcast the afternoon show each and every trading day live on YouTube, we also archive each and every daily show. Currently, we have over 2,000 daily live broadcasts archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. So with that out of the way, let's open with a word of prayer, as we do. And today we're going to pray about work. Colossians 3:23 and 24 says, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for human masters, since you know that you will receive an inheritance from the Lord as a reward. It is the Lord Christ you are serving. As we continue to be faithful and diligent in the careers and position God has provided, it is good to be reminded that we do not work for men, but for the Lord. Give me a second. And wait on Garrett's text for a while. "10 a.m. Pacific." So, he'll be joining us at the top of the hour. Back to our prayer. As we continue to be faithful and diligent in the careers and position God has provided, it is good to be reminded that we do not work for men, but for the Lord. Colossians reminds us, whatever we do, whether we're a mailman, a hairstylist, a physician, a teacher, even a trader, we do this job for the glory of God, because we're just stewards. Some stuff has our name on it, but God provided it, and we're just stewards. We work at it with all of our hearts for that reason. When we know that our work is a calling and a mission field for Christ, we're much more likely to be grateful and positive, even in the mundane and difficulties within the work. Challenges arise for everyone, but when we have the light of Christ, He gives us the opportunities to reveal to others His love and existence. Whether you are so thankful for your line of work or just starting out, or maybe you're praying for a job, or maybe you're barely surviving a difficult environment, God can use you right where you are. This is not a waste. This is a calling for this season in your life. He can stretch our faith, increase our joy, and use us as His witnesses to those around us to share the gospel. Join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, thank You that You are our provider, Jehovah Jireh. Thank You that even though work can be tiring or difficult, You created us to work and designed us to be purposeful with our time. We pray over our days ahead that we may glorify You and celebrate Your goodness each and every day. Help us to choose gratitude to unlock joy in the mundane. It is only by Your strength that we can accomplish this. We praise You for the jobs that us or our loved ones are praying for that have not yet come to pass. Thank You for no's that lead to yeses. We ask that You would answer these requests for employment and provide for these people in amazing ways, like only You can. For those in damaging or unhealthy work environments, Lord, help them to stand strong and live out their faith in the midst of the fire. We pray that You would provide a way into a better work atmosphere. In the meantime, though, help them to walk by the Spirit, not by the flesh, and trust in You. The Word says in Proverbs 16:3, "Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and He will establish your plans." We pray that all of the tasks and goals that we set are within Your will. We ask that You would help us in whatever we're doing. Please establish our plans. Guide us in our decision making. Give us discernment and wisdom. Lead us to people who are wise counselors of You. Help us to make beneficial choices for our families and our lives. Guide us in work and rest balance. Help work to never be an idol in our lives. Help us to remember that You and You alone are our provider. And help us not to worship money just for the sake of money. You bless us so that we can be a blessing to others. Lord, you tell us in 1 Corinthians 16:14, therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, stand firm. Let nothing move you. Always give yourselves fully to the work of the Lord, because you know that your labor in the Lord is not in vain. Help us to stand firm. Allow us to let nothing move us. Help us to give ourselves fully to the work that you call us to do. Remind us that our labor is not in vain when it is done for you. Thank you that our work can be of eternal value and that we can celebrate your movement in our everyday lives. Father, we praise you for your great kindness to us. Thank you for enabling us and providing work for us. Help us to see our everyday with spiritual eyes, to remember that you are the purpose for what we do, whatever that is. Remind us to represent you well in all things and to offer this area of our lives to you as a witness of your love. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Everybody said amen. All right, let me give you the numbers here real quick from around the world. We'll start in the U.S. with the cash markets, or the indices as they're called. The Dow down 132 points, NASDAQ down 56, S&P 500 down 14, and the Russell 2000 down 8.5. What a magnificent head fake we saw, and I'll show it to you on the charts later in the show. In the commodity basket, crude oil up $2.22, which is a gain of a little over 2%. Gold down 30 cents, trading 1806.70 last. Silver down 58 cents. That's over $2,500 per contract traded. Trading 1977 last. We've broken the $20 mark. That's a drop of almost 3%. In the Asian markets at the close, Nikkei posted a loss of 457 points, 1 3/4%. The Shanghai fell 10 points. The Hang Seng dropped 137. In the European markets at the close, the FTSE was basically flatlined. The DAX gained 29 points, and the CAC added 8 points. So that gave us a green or a red day in Asia, a mixed day in the UK. And there's been some tremendous volatility in the markets today, but currently it is a red Radio Friday here in the US of A. Now, those of you that watch this broadcast via YouTube, or you watch it after the fact, when you have time, because remember, we archive every show. There's over 2,000 daily life broadcasts. But if you watch the YouTube version, of course, I've got the webcam on most days here of late. And you probably wonder, how could a guy so young rise to such a powerful position? And then I get a humbling letter in the U.S. mail yesterday from the Social Security Administration, which says, hey, by the way, you haven't reached full retirement age, but if you want, you can start collecting those checks right now. Like I said, that was a humbling bit of snail mail. So with that, we'll go to Michael and get a recap. He's a much younger man. We'll go to Michael, but you'll get that letter someday. And he'll give us a recap of what happened this morning in the live training room. After that, I'll come back. We'll look at the Logic 247 alerts, the Concierge Trade alerts, and at the top of the hour, give or take, Garrett will join us. And together we're going to go over the headlines. And of course, he's got a recent edition of his Observations newsletter to share and some charts to share. And he often talks about the long wave 40-year cycle. And as I mentioned earlier, the first half of this year is the biggest drop in the S&P in over 50 years. And as Michael posted in the Telegram channel, biggest drop in the Dow in over 60 years. That's the first half of the year. We still got another half a year coming. And then we still got another year of the current administration. And I don't even want to think about beyond that. Michael, I can see your charts. Take it away. It is all yours.
All right, here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Friday, the first day of July, 2022. Now, if you've not taken a free trial with us and you want to, go here to eminitrainingschool.com. Scroll down to right here where all we ask for is your first name, your email, and your phone number. You can tell us the biggest trading challenge so we can tailor one-on-one training just for you. Hit that send button. Once you hit that send button, you're going to be sent a confirmation link. You must click on that confirmation link, okay? If you don't do that, we don't know that you took the free trial, so make sure you click on that. All right, the spreadsheet. I did finally get the spreadsheet straightened out. It is the first day of a new month, so I had to move stuff around. If you're going to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today is the first day of July 2022. We made 33 ticks in crude, 25 in gold, and 65 on the ES. Put us up 1392.50 on the morning session. Today it took 7 minutes and 4 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up $170 a contract. We took a total of 17 trades. So on a month now, we are 1 day into it, and we're at $1,392. We've now gone 185 days since our last negative day, and we've gotten our goal on 124 out of 124 possible days so far this year. And that puts us at a total of 134,853,000 on the year. Okay, I believe that number to be correct. That should add up all of this stuff right here. $134,853. All right. So we're averaging $1,087 per contract per 2-hour trading day. If you were to quit trading when you got your goal for the day and you were to add 1 contract per month, you would now be at 7 contracts. And this number should be 170, not 150. Hang on. This is going to be equals that. Okay. Well, that didn't work. There it goes. Okay, that worked out better. All right. So if you were to do all that, you would have worked so far this year 17.73 hours. If you were to quit trading when you got your goal for the day and you were to add 1 contract per month, you would have worked so far this year 17.73 hours. And you would have averaged $3,471 per hour on the year. Okay. All right. So let's get into what we did. Now, we didn't have a ton of trades today. We did have a good moment in time today. Gold, we'll just start out with gold. We only had a few trades here on gold. The first one, we had a +7. Is that right? +7 on the first one, then a break even. Then this was our moment of time. I thought it was going to go up to there and go down to there. Did all that. Then it ran around quite a bit. And there were a lot of trades that triggered all through there. This was the next trade that we took. We went from 7 to +25. So I think we got 18 ticks on this. I believe, yeah, we got 18 ticks on this move right here. And a bunch of guys got that with me. That was a good one that a bunch of guys were able to get with me. This was my initial target. It was right there. And that just kept going. There were some more trades that happened that triggered through here. Highest probability short trade right there, but I didn't take any more. During the break, we'll just go through the highest probability trades. There was one long right here, highest probability trade, and another long right here, highest probability trade, and no short highest probability trades. There were some high probability trades, second highest probability trades, but not the highest. Okay, some really nice trades there during the break. Now, just looking at the ribbon trades here from the morning, there was one right here that was a pretty clear ribbon trade. There was one right in here that wasn't as clear. That still worked out okay. Let's see, just the ribbon trades. It was one right here. And let's see. All right, just the ribbon trades. Now, if you were to throw in a trend line with the slingshot, then, you know, anytime all the bars are the right color and you have the separation, and you could draw a trend line like right there, right there, right there, right there. That was actually a trade there, but right there, right there, right there. You know, there's a bunch more trades available to you if you're using the ribbon. Okay, and everyone is finding it to be really simple to use. So that was the goal. Have the same basic trade setup dynamics, just easier to see. All right, so on crude oil, I forgot to add this one in, whatever that was. But I marked down my first trade on crude was a stop out right there is a -8. Then we went from -8 to -3, so I had a +5 there. And then somewhere in here we went from -3 to +2. I don't have that. That might have been back here. I might have added that 5 back there in over here. Anyway, we ended up with +2, and I went from 2 to 17. So we had a 15 tick trade right there. Then we had a break even. Then went from 17 to 27. So we had a 10 tick trade, and then a break even, and another break even. And then this was the moment in time. I thought it was going to go down and then go up. It didn't go up and hit this level. It did go down to this level. That's what I was thinking it was going to do, but I thought it was going to go up first. It didn't do the up part. There were some more trades through here. I'm just not going to run through them all right now because that was our moment in time today. And we took one more trade over here to get us from 27 to 33. So we had a 6-tick trade right there, it looks like. All right, and then we get into the break. And now during the break, just the highest probability trades. One right here. One right here. This took a while to develop. This one was pretty quick developing. And one right here. It looks like those were the only highest probability trades on crude. Right now, we go to the 7-tick on crude. We had some pretty good setups there too, I think. If you were to use just the bounces off the BBC where the bar is the right color, you can see the whole ribbon, and BBC is the right color. There was one there. It was just about one there, but not quite. One right here. A couple of them right through here. Okay, one right here. One right here. Maybe you could have done that one or this one right here. See, it started to get bunched up in here, so you could have probably done those if you wanted to. What you would have done is a trend line right here, I think, and taken this right here for a long. And that was it. Just the ones that were the right color off the ribbon, not using the slingshot. Now, if you're going to use the slingshot, then there were a bunch more. If you're going to use the slingshot in the trend line, trade there, trade there, trade there, trade there, trade there, trade here. And guys, these are not little trades. You know, if you have the right kind of separation down here in the slingshot, you draw that trend line. It's the same thing as it always is. It's just a larger time frame, a little bit larger time frame. But when you got the ribbon showing all the lines in the ribbon, you have the right kind of separation in the slingshot. It's just so much easier, and everybody is doing this. Well, everybody that is doing this is really getting good results from it. Okay. But you can see it again and again and again and again and again and again. All right, that was the crude oil today. We ended up with what did we end up with? Plus 33 ticks on crude. All right, the ES. Now, 2 of the trades on the ES were from the 7-tick. I had this one right here for 16 ticks and this one right here for 9 ticks. That was at the end of the session this morning. Okay, they were from the 7-tick range. I went short on this we had just finished our moment in time, I think, and I come to look over here and I saw that we had bounced off right there. We could see all the lines. I took the short through there for 16 ticks, and then this one right here, I just drawn the trend line. I had just finished talking about this one and it dated again, so I took that one right there, just to illustrate to everyone that was in the room how simple it was to just take those trades with confidence. All right, now our first trade on the ES was right in here. We picked up 8 ticks on that one. We picked up 8 ticks on the next one. There were some more trades through here, but I missed them. Okay, and I got a lot of meetings today, so I'm kind of rushing through this, but there was a second one there that we picked up 8 ticks on to get us to 16. The next trade that we actually did, there were a bunch of trades all through here, but you see we're only 15 minutes in right here. So it was kind of crazy first thing in this morning. There was a break-even trade that we took in there, then another plus 8 there to get us to 24 at that point. Then the next trade we took was a 16-tick trade right here. That got us to 40. Then another 16-tick, well, then those last two were on the 7-tick. A 16-tick trade there to get us to 56, and then a 9-tick trade to get us to 65. Okay, so let's, I meant to go back here to the 4-tick range and go through what happened during the break. This was our moment in time. I really had no clue what was going to happen during the moment in time. Okay, I thought it was going to get up to this level right here at some point. If it was going to go up, I thought that level. I really thought it was going to go down from there. It did go down and it went back up. Let me hit the question box to see this. No, there's no questions. Okay. In here, there was some shorting opportunities, clearly all the way down through there. But this was all during the moment in time that I was talking. We didn't start trading the ES again. I don't know if we did start trading it again. Nope, I think we stuck to the 7-tick range bar. We'll just go through during the break the highest probability trades, okay, if there were any. Looks like one right here. One right here. One right here. And one right. Nope, that wasn't one. Sorry, slingshot's not right. Okay, so if we flip to the 7-tick range, we can look at the trades that set up over there. We had, if you're using, you got to have a full ribbon and then the trend line in the bar color. Okay, so there was trade here, a trade here, a trade here. Just using the color off the BBC, the right color BBC with the full ribbon, you could take a trade there. There were a few of them that you could do, but if you're using the trend line with the slingshot, trades there, trades up there. Just using the ribbon color and the BBC bounce though, right there. There weren't that many. We're an hour into it now. There was one right here you could have done. One right here you could have done. Right there would have been just coming out of the crunch. I probably wouldn't want to do that, but right there you could have done. Right in here. Okay. Right through here. Well, this is where we did actually do those ones. And then you get into the break. There was one right here during the break, along, one right here along. And that was about it. Now, you got to look at these trades. These are 7-tick range bars. So this is significant from here to here. It's not just like, 8 ticks like on the ES would be. It's 82.75 all the way up to right here was 87.75. So that's 5 points right there, $250 a contract. Okay, and something like this move right here where you got all the ribbons showing, everything is red. You have pullback down here on the slingshot. This short right here would have been a trend line trade from 74.25, and that dropped all the way down to 67.75. Let's just say 68.25, right? 74.25 to 68.25, 6 points right there, $300 a contract in that one quick move. And you do that with 10 contracts on, and you can with the ES. It's $3,000 in that one quick move in about 5 minutes. and they happen again and again and again. All right. I don't see any questions in the box, so I'm just going to go back to the spreadsheet. Now, if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today is the first day of July, 2022. We made 33 ticks in crude, 25 ticks in gold, and 65 ticks on the ES. Put us at 1392.5 on the morning session. Today it took 7 minutes and 4 trades to get to the goal of the day. At that point, we're up $170 a contract. We took a total of 17 trades this morning. So on a month now, we are at $1,392. We've gone 185 days since our last negative day, and we've gotten our goal for the day in 124 out of 124 days so far this year, putting us at $134,853 on the year, averaging $1,087 per contract per 2-hour trading day. If you were to quit when you got your goal for the day and you were to add 1 contract per month, we've only had to work 17.73 hours so far this year, and you would have averaged $3,471 per hour. Okay. If you've not taken a free trial with us and you want to, go here to eminitrainingschool.com. All we ask for on this page is your first name, your email, and your phone number. You can tell us the biggest trading challenge so we can tailor one-on-one training just for you. Hit that send button. You'll be sent a confirmation link. You must click on the confirmation link. Okay, if you don't click that link, we don't know that you took the free trial. So make sure you click on that link. All right. All right, that's it, guys. With that, we can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona. It's Studio A overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Dwayne, if you are ready.
Yes, sir, I am ready. So let me click that.
All right.
That.
I can almost see it.
Here it comes.
Still can't see it.
There
So there it
goes.
is. There it is. All right.
All right. Recap of the recap.
Today it took 7 minutes and 4 trades to get to $170 per contract.
Good job.
Thank you.
As always. And I'm sure you've alerted folks to the fact that Monday is the 4th of July.
Yes.
Markets will
we
be
will
closed,
down on
and we
Monday.
won't be here.
That is correct.
Now,
We'll be down.
4th of July is a U.S. holiday, so Sunday night, the CTAs will go out, the logic alerts will go out, as normal, but the weekly trading zones, which are typically published Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern for our members, those won't come out because of the holiday until Tuesday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. So you'll continue to use this week's weekly trading zones until Tuesday morning, and because they come out at 6:15 a.m. Eastern, that gives you an opportunity to get them on your charts before Wall Street opens for the week. But don't throw out last week's trading zones right away. Keep them somewhere on a little notepad or something, because the market continues to respect the previous week's zones until you see the new zones kick in. And that's when you can file away the previous week's zones. We've been publishing the zones since December 14th of 2009, and I have every set of zones in my notebooks, not my mini notebooks now, every zone, every week since the first day we published them. So, anything else you want to add, Michael, before I get rolling? He's already on the phone. Okay, he had a meeting scheduled. So, with that, now Garrett's going to join us at the top of the hour. We're going to go over the headlines once Garrett joins us, because you always hear my commentary on the headlines, but today you get a chance to hear his commentary on the headlines. And also, he has a new observations newsletter out, so he'll take the screens and he'll show you his newsletter and some of his longer term charts. Now for Michael, a 4-tick range and now a 7-tick range is the world in which he lives. The 30-minute chart is the world in which I live, plus a smaller time frame for timing my entries and setting my stop loss. The But Garrett goes back 40 years, 80 years. He's got some theories on 40-year cycles, and we'll talk about that in today's show. Now, Logic 247 is our 24/7 around-the-clock Emini alert service. It includes not only the E-minis, but crude, gold, silver, the euro, and as of recent, even the 30-year bonds. The Globex markets open Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern. Wall Street doesn't open until Monday morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. But we go to work Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern. So even though there's a Monday holiday, I'll still put out alerts Sunday night. And then the markets will grind to a close Monday around 12 noon Eastern. And then they'll reopen Monday night at 6 p.m. Eastern for the beginning of the Tuesday session, even though it's still Monday here in the U.S. Now, it's called Logic 247 because it's based on logic. Not some mystery, not some secret, but just logic. And the more you understand logic, the more it will just seem like common sense. And the 247 is, well, the alerts come out around the clock, 24/7. Could be 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. whenever opportunity presents itself, because we have traders around the world, so our night session is their day session and vice versa. This week so far, and the day is not over, so far we've issued a total of 90 alerts, 17 never triggered. We're still waiting on the outcome of 11. So we've had 62 actionable alerts, of which 8 or 13% would have been stopped out based on not risking more than $300 per contract, per trade, less when possible. When I do one-on-one mentoring sessions, probably the thing I hear most often is, okay, so on the alerts we risk $300 per trade. No. The maximum we risk is $300. Using multiple time frames, we want to risk as little as possible. And we do that by using market structure. In other words, the chart actually tells us where the stop loss needs to be. And that's something that we teach all of our passport holders. In fact, when you become a passport holder, that's one of the first things we'll cover in our first one-on-one mentoring session. And of course, as a passport holder, which is a lifetime membership with no upsells, no gotchas, no new shiny objects to buy, it's one payment for life. Covers everything we do, everything we've ever done, and whatever we do in the future. TradingView is a perfect example. Our passport holders, when we rolled out our indicators on TradingView, how much did the current passport holders have to pay to get access to the indicators on TradingView? Nothing. Because with us, lifetime really means lifetime, and unlimited really means unlimited. And again, as a passport holder, you have access to unlimited one-on-one mentoring. All you have to do is book the session. We show up, you show up, and it's a one-on-one discussion. You can see my charts, I can see your charts, whatever you want, and we help you with whatever issues you may be experiencing. So, we're at 13% stopped out based on that maximum $300 risk profile. The average over the last 204 weeks has been 20%. So while we never know what's going to happen next in the market, and by the way, nobody does. No man, no machine, no algorithm. It's not possible. It defies the laws of science, physics, even God. Adam was never given the ability to change the past or to know the future, and those two things are inextricably linked for eternity. But what our traders do know with great certainty is what the next high probability move is, and 20% of the time, on average, something else happens. Order flow shifts in the middle of a trade. And remember, it's the institutional money that actually moves price. As retail traders, our goal is to simply use our strategy, our indicators, our weekly zones to get a clear picture of what the deep pocket institutional traders, the hedge funds, the Goldman Sachs of the world, we want to see what they're doing so that we can simply ride their coattails until we reach our goal for the day. Trading's not easy, but it can be that simple. Now, the logic alerts are based on current price action. Our original alert service, the concierge trade alerts, they are based on historic price action. And they do not come out around the clock like Logic 247. The CTAs are posted as a static report every evening, every trading day, shortly after the Globex Open. Last night we had our workshop. Oh, and by the way, guys, if you missed last night's workshop, it was a great one. So if you are a passport holder and you do have access to the Telegram workshop channel, over the weekend, the long holiday, I encourage you to watch last night's workshop. It'll really help you a lot. Okay, now we cover on both Logic and Concierge the ES, the Dow, the Russell, crude oil, the NQ, gold, silver, the euro, and the 30-year bonds. Chances are you don't trade all of these markets, and if you're new, you shouldn't try to trade all of the markets. Pick one, pick two, stick with them until you master the strategy. Then you're free to do whatever you want as you please. We'll use the ES as an example. Last night at 7 p.m. Eastern, everyone who trades the ES should make note of where price is at this moment in time, 7 p.m. Eastern. Then you go to the chart of the ES, your 30-minute chart, and you draw a line in the sand at 38.10, and you draw a line in the sand at 37.59. If price starts trending up towards 38.10, that's bullish, so our strategy will look for opportunities to be long the market. If price starts trending down towards 37.59, that's bearish, and so our strategy will look for opportunities to be short the market. In either case, that's where you'll use Logic 247, which is based on current price action. And everything you learn in the live training room every single day, to yourself find opportunities to be long or short the market. As you become more adept with our strategy, you'll find that typically you can get your goal for the day before we hit the long trigger or the short trigger. In the beginning, that may seem like a challenge, but over time, it will become not only logical, it'll become just plain old common sense. If you want to grab, we're going to walk through each of these markets real quick before Garrett comes on. So I can't fit them all into one screen, so if you want to grab a screenshot of the top part here, do that, snap, and then snap on the bottom, euro, and the bonds. Okay, so again, we're going to forego the headlines for now till Garrett comes on so that he can provide his thoughts and commentary, as I typically do each and every day. We'll hear what he has to say. So we'll jump right now straight to the daily chart, the S&P 500 E-mini futures. We are still in a downtrend. The last significant high was put in March 29th. That high was 46.30. And then as price got below the BBC, which is the green line, stands for bull bear cross. When we're above the green line, we're bullish, anticipating higher prices. But once price gets below that green line, then we become bearish, or we anticipate lower prices. And the pullback to the BBC holds more often than it doesn't. Now right here we managed to get above the BBC. However, we spent 7 trading sessions with a series of lower highs, and so this came as no surprise when we closed back below the BBC. We also got a bearish cross. This indicator is called the CFMA1. I refer to it as simply blue and climbing, red and falling. One is bullish, represents support. The other is bearish, represents resistance. And so we dropped, once we were back below the BBC, to the low put in on June 17th at 36.39. We then rallied 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sessions to put us back above the BBC. And this has got to be one of the greatest head fakes of all time, because it looked like the market was going to run to the next obstacle, the 38% reverse fib and the previous bearish cross. Both of those represent potential resistance. In fact, it's what we call resistance times 2. However, after we closed above the BBC, the following session we remained above the BBC, but we closed the day with a red doji. The market opened the following session, June 28th. Price ran up, I think, 2 points higher. Yep, 39.48, 39.50. At which point the institutional buyers realized that no matter what they bought, they weren't going to move price higher at this point. So it takes financial commitment for markets, or for price to rise. But for price to fall, all that has to happen is for the institutional buyers to stop buying. Not forever. They just back up and wait for a better price. Whether you're buying a car, tennis shoes, or E-mini futures, the better price is always the lower price. So we get back below the BBC, we get below the step line, we come down to blue and climbing, which represents potential support. We spiked it, but we closed right above it. That was yesterday. And here's today's candle, the Friday candle. And so far, we have a daily doji, which represents indecision between those institutions, Goldman Sachs, the hedge funds of the world. Okay. Now, everything I just said about the indicators and about price, it applies not only to the S&P E-mini daily chart, it applies to all markets and all time frames, from the 1 minute to the 5 minute to the hourly, the 4 hour, the daily, the weekly, monthly. Now we always start out with a daily chart because the institutions watch daily, weekly, and monthly charts the way you and I watch 30-minute charts and 5-minute charts and tick charts and range charts. Why? Because they've got deep pockets and their shareholders and investors expect them to put that money to work. And that can become a very difficult job for them when you have this type of a scenario. And that's why we have a doji on the day. The institutions have not yet made up their mind. Now, there's a stronger case for the bears than the bulls, because all we have to do is take out today's low, and that would bring us to this potential support, which would then bring us to this potential support. If the bulls want to kick it in gear, and historically, U.S. markets rally into a U.S. holiday. So we could see some bullish movement in the remainder of today's session this afternoon. But price has to first take out the high of the day, then the step line, then the daily BBC, and then the 24% reverse fib, which would bring us back to this double top, which turned the market back down. And getting above that would then take us to this resistance that we just discussed. So, we stay nimble, we embrace all possibilities. This is the daily chart. We use the 30-minute chart as our roadmap, and then you're free to pick whatever smaller time frame you're most comfortable with as your trigger chart, where you time your entry and set your stop loss. It could be a 5-minute, it could be a tick chart, it could be a range chart, whatever works best for you. On the S&P 30-minute chart, those CTA numbers that I just showed you, here is where the market opened last night. The vertical line separates today, Friday, from yesterday, Thursday. So we get a leg down, we pull back to the BBC, the pullback holds, we get a leg, and then the pullback holds, and then we continue to drop. And once we trigger here, we put in a low at 37.46 and a half. So we'll call it 37.47 to be conservative. That's 12 points at $50 a point. Then we get back above the trigger. Once an alert triggers, whether it's a CTA or a logic alert, there's a greater probability that it's going to trigger multiple times than not trigger multiple times. And so down we come again. We've still got red and falling. This time we dropped to 37.44 half. So we'll call it 37.45. That's 14 points at $50 a point. That's what the market made available. Then we get above the BBC, we put in a leg, we pull back to the BBC, the pullback holds, and off we go. And the long CTA trigger was 38.10. We made it up to 38.13 and a quarter. So that's 3 points, $50 a point, $150 per contract traded. Then we get back below the trigger. This candle closes here, it opens here, and this was a green candle all the way up to 38.1675. That's 6 3/4 points. And if you look at the horizontal line on my cursor, look left, you'll see where that last resistance right here lines right up with the high of today's session. And that's our belief. What was once resistance will remain resistance until broken, and what was once support will remain support until broken. So here we had 6 3/4 points at $50 a point. We then came back down. We got below the BBC. Got to be above the BBC to take a long, got to be below the BBC to take a short. And from 37.59 we dropped to 37.53 half. We'll call it 37.54. That's 5 points at $50 a point, $250 per contract traded. That's what the market made available. On the Dow, here's where the market opened. We had two-sided action. We triggered on the short side, and the first drop took us down to 34.50. Ultimately, we dropped to 34.20. But if we just look at this first drop, which was 34.50, that's 120 points at $5 a point, $600 per contract traded. On this move up, the high was 35.60, and so it came right up to the important price, important area, but it didn't trade above it, so we didn't get another official second trigger. We get above the BBC, we pull back, the pullback holds, and that sends us up to the long CTA at 38.10. Now the published target was 38.60, so that's 50 points at $5 a point. We spiked it, so there was more on the table, but this is the published entry and the published target. Okay? Now, we closed here, we opened here, and we had a green candle that took us all the way up to 39.44. So that's about 130 points at $5 a point, at which point, if you look at this high right here, it's real close to that high right there. And that sent us down through the BBC. The first trigger took us from 35.60 to 35.23. So about 35 points at $5 a point per contract traded. And then this candle closed here, opened here, made a run to the upside, came back down, put in a low at 34.50. So we'll call that $100, or I'm sorry, 100 points per contract traded at $5 a point. That's a $500 per contract move. And now we're just kind of idling sideways, consolidating at the BBC, waiting on those institutional traders to commit themselves either to the long or short side. And because it's a Friday afternoon ahead of a holiday, we may not see anything. Okay? Only time will tell. If we do get above these swing highs right here, I think there's even an alert in the channel to embrace this area up here. Plus you still have the CTA trigger. Once the CTA numbers are published, they're good for the entire day. Carved in stone. Just like the weekly zones, which we've published since December 14th of 2009. Once we publish those on Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern, they're carved in stone for the entire week. We don't massage them, manipulate them, or change them in any way whatsoever. Here's the Russell. Here's where the market opens. We pull up to the BBC, the pullback holds. We got red and falling, so we know we're looking to trade on the short side. And from 1692, the first move down took us down to 82. 10 points, $500 per contract traded. We pulled back and then we put in a slightly lower low at 1681. So 11 points at $50 a point. And we get back above the BBC. We get a leg, we get a retracement, the pullback holds. This is where we get our triggers on the long side. 1719, 1724, 5 points, $50 a point. And then we drop back below the BBC, and we trigger one more time on the short side from 1692 down to 1690. Well, it's 89.40. We'll call it 1690. So 2 points, $50 a point. And here we are, idling sideways. However, we're below the BBC, and so the next high probability move will most likely be to this swing low right here. It could go further, but we would anticipate it to at least make it to that low, as long as we remain below the BBC. On the NQ, hey, Garrett's with us, so let me open up his mic, and we'll pick up, guys, after we talk with Garrett. We've gotten through the S&P, the Dow, the Russell, the NQ. After we chat with Garrett, we'll take a look at crude, gold, silver, the euro, and the 30-year bonds. Okay? And as you can see, we had multiple triggers on the NQ. We haven't gone into detail on the NQ yet. We'll do that after we finish talking to Garrett. So let me get his microphone open. Unless he already has it open, Mike. I don't think he does. Maybe we need to send you a new link. There's Garrett. Okay, my friend, your mic is open.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you good.
Good. I went back to my, I had the earbuds and couldn't hear you, so I'm back to my headset and mic. So good. Good to be back on with you and your audience.
Yeah, it's been a couple weeks. We always love having you on. I started doing something here lately. I go over a few headlines, usually at the beginning of the show, but I thought I would wait, and before I pass the charts over to you, we'll go through these headlines real quick because the audience gets to hear my thoughts and comments on the headlines every day, and I thought they might enjoy getting your thoughts. The first headline, the Supreme Court yesterday, they've been very busy because their session's about to expire, limited the EPA's authority to use the Clean Air Act to regulate greenhouse gas emissions, marking a major setback for the Biden administration's push to replace coal-burning plants with cleaner energy sources. Things like windmills, where sometimes the wind doesn't always blow, and solar panels, which don't do you much good if you live in Oregon or Washington State, where it's cloudy most of the time. You get to see the sun a few days a year. Like in Arizona, it's the opposite, polar opposite. We get a few days of rain a year. Capping carbon dioxide emissions to transition away from coal power may be a sensible solution to the crisis of the day, but it's up to Congress, not the EPA, to make a decision of such magnitude. Now, that was written by Chief Justice John Roberts as he wrote for the court's 6-3 conservative majority. In her dissent, Justice Elena Kagan said the ruling strips the EPA of the power Congress gave it. Any thoughts on that headline? I don't feel obligated to comment on every headline. We've got a total of 10.
Well, that I think I think we've all heard people say lately, some in the past many years, the world's upside down. I don't know what's going on anymore. Good is bad, bad is good. Patriots are bad, anarchists are good, that kind of stuff. And the market doesn't trade like it used to, all sorts of things. And I think what I've tried to tell people in looking at this for a long time and kind of having an understanding of what's going on behind the scenes, is that if you look at the world in the normal perspective, the way we probably should look at it, it's not going to make any sense at all. If you want it to make sense, you're going to have to look at something that's never on your news, but that is in your life daily. And that's what I've talked about whatever name you want to put on them. The deep state, the Illuminati, the guys in Davos,
Right.
Carl Schwab and his gang. These are the people that have been running the world for a long time and are now putting it into high gear to do a full takeover. This is what happened in the election. How in the world, I don't care whether you're Republican or Democrat or hate politics, it doesn't much matter. But when you saw one candidate turn, pack stadiums for 65,000 people and turn people away at the door, and then you see 6 people sitting there listening to somebody else, I mean, nobody going out of their way to listen to the other candidate, and the other candidate somehow wins an election.
And hid in his bunker during the entire campaign.
Yeah, I mean, he never was out there. I thought, boy, this
Now
guy's
you are speaking of the election where Joe Biden got 12 million more votes than Barack Obama.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And I mean, and the interesting thing is, I mean, they've proven, that lots of dead people voted, that there was ballot stuffing. It's all there, but you never see it on the news channels and to some degree on Fox. But there's finally some. I've been reading about this stuff for 50 years. I first heard New World Order uttered by Henry Kissinger in 1972, and it kind of piqued my mind for some reason to look into it, and I have been ever since. And it probably takes the majority of those decades to really get it together, because it's very hard to find information. And now, one of the things that I bring up to people is I said, I hope you're aware that there's a lot of censorship going on. I mean, I guess if you're a liberal Democrat, it doesn't dawn on you because you like it. They're censoring
because you
side.
agree with the stuff that you're allowed to see.
Yeah. So I mean, for them, it's like, well, big deal, But the reason that certain things like the golden rule, which now people think has to do with gold, as opposed to, being something given to us by the good Lord.
Now it means he who has the gold makes the rules.
Makes the rules, yeah. It's and that's true, probably. But the other golden rule, the one that can help out all of us individually and all of us collectively, is the kind of thing that with the example of the liberal who says, I don't, it doesn't seem like it's censorship to me. They're just quieting these liars, and that's a good thing. I mean, that's what they would say. And the question would be, well, how would you like it in your direction? In other words, if you had no voice, there, Bill Gates, George Soros, all these other people, all the late night and daytime talk show hosts, and everybody else that provides this narrative that is given to them by the people who own and run the news media forever. I said, how would you like it? And of course, in the old days, you could have that conversation. Now, people, they're so fully brainwashed that there's really no conversation.
We haven't seen this much division in America since probably the Civil War. And that's exactly what those in power want, is to create division. They want to separate us, shut us up in our homes, take our guns. Well, let's go to headline number 2. The Supreme Court, as I said, their session's coming to an end, so they've been very busy. Ketanji Brown Jackson took the judicial oath of office and became the first black woman to serve on the Supreme Court Thursday, simply because, and no one has not denied this, Biden said, I'm going to pick a woman and I'm going to pick a black woman, which really goes against everything that America kind of stands for, although I have no problem with a black woman being on the Supreme Court. Justice Jackson, 51, was sworn in as Justice Stephen Breyer, 83, officially retired at the end of the court's term. Jackson, who was confirmed earlier this year to replace Breyer when he stepped down, is the 116th justice and just the 6th woman to serve on the High Court. Jackson made no statement during the swearing-in ceremony. Chief Justice John Roberts said he was pleased to welcome Justice Jackson to the court and to our common calling. Jackson's arrival on the court doesn't change its ideological makeup, leaving the conservative majority at 6-3. Your thoughts?
I don't really have any thoughts on it. I think that.
Do you think it was wrong to pick someone just because they're black and just because they're a woman? Forget their qualifications, as a judge or a justice. That doesn't sit well with me. Again, I'm not opposed to a black woman being on the court, but she should be equally qualified as all the other justices. And I'm sure she's a very nice woman. I don't think, from a judicial standpoint, that she is equally qualified as the other justices.
Well, we don't have a president or a vice president or a Speaker of the House that's qualified. So why would it make any difference if you have that situation? In my view, we've had a bulletless coup. It probably happened a lot longer ago than most people think, but now it's obvious. You don't have censorship in a free country, period. Doesn't happen. We've got censorship. We've got it in spades. You don't have people who lose an election by a landslide in a free country. And this country has got to wake up. I might have to, maybe I should jump into what I wanted to cover with you if I can be so bold to do that. But I think I might have some trading here that I might have to attend to.
I'll send you the screens.
If you would, I just
go after it. We'll finish up the headlines after Garrett's done.
Let me know when you can see that.
I can see
it's probably hard to see for your audience, but there's the title is Americans. Yes, they are that stupid. And there's a couple of guys in a swimming pool. They've got a table in there, and I blew that up as big as I could. It looks like it's a telephone and probably stereo combination. That's plugged into a floating electrical power strip, and that power strip is plugged into the actual power.
Yeah, that took a real rocket scientist to design that.
My comment in my thing was the only positive thing about this is that you've probably eliminated 2 people that might further damage our gene pool. But whether this is hopefully it's just a joke. But in America today, that's that's up for grabs. It's we've gotten to the point now, and again, this is, I think what we're going to find out is that, we already know that we live on a planet of duality. Rich, poor, hot, cold, black, white, up, down, etc. That defines our planet. Good, bad, good and evil. That's there too. And so I think if good is ultimately meant to win this battle, and I think that's the case, Once that happens, there's going to be a lot of disclosure, and there has to be. There's going to have to be a lot of disclosure because people just don't understand what's happened. People are good-hearted. They don't believe that their news is going to lie to them. If they're older, 50, 60, 70, they've been able to count on the news throughout their life, even if they were getting a little brainwashed then. And I'm sure that was the case, but certainly not to the degree lately. And when that happens, people are just duped into literally believing, well, gee, my news wouldn't lie to me. And the thing that I've seen that's so obvious, and yet, you can't see it, the forest through the trees situation, is that the news stories that are really pushed continuously, that pop up, and that dominate our news day after day after day, those news stories are the ones that are basically 100% false. Classic example: Trump becomes president. If you think about Russia now, what do? We all hate Russia now. Putin's a horrible guy, and these opinions are given to us over the news. They don't give us any news that gives us the truth. If you really want to see a coverage, go to www.stopworldcontrol.com and just scroll down to the part on Ukraine, and you'll see they give you example after example of stuff that's completely dishonest about what's going on. But when you see news like the Steele dossier going on for a couple of years, that Trump was colluding with Russia, I mean, there's probably not a more natural ally on this planet for the United States than Russia. They used to be our ally in World War II. It's a multicultural nation that's basically white Christians. That's what our nation is. I mean, we've got a lot more in common with Russia than what we don't have, and they'd be an ideal trading partner because they've got a great deal of natural resources, and we've got a lot of technology.
And then we went through the Cold War, and then Reagan said, Mr. Gorbachev, bring down the wall, and things changed.
Yeah, I mean, what happened is that Russia was highly in debt, and it was a time to move on them. That happened well after Reagan was shot.
They've now defaulted on their debt for the first time since 1816 or 1916, whatever the case is. Not because they don't have the money, but because their money is in bank accounts in countries that have sanctioned them and will not allow them access to their money.
Yeah, I think if the people knew the story, one of the things I was going to mention in here, well, let's see. Let me just scroll through. Here's Putin. Here's Edgar Casey. Edgar Casey, they called the sleeping prophet. He was a gentleman from, I don't know when his prime would have been, the 1920s,
Probably
30s,
no more
40s.
two unlikely guys in the world. As far as belief structure and
it's interesting. Edgar Casey said it was Russia that would bring the world to peace and freedom, not the United States. And I think he's absolutely right. If we remove ourselves from being Americans and brainwashed and just look at the facts, we're a nation that's been out there bullying people and forcing, putting our leaders in, causing them to have overthrows. This is what happened in the Ukraine with Zelensky. This guy is a major joke, but we make him out to be a martyr and a war hero.
Well, I mean, he was a professional comedian before he became president. So I see what you did there.
Google the thing where it shows Zelensky with three other males in It's just disgusting. He's in like, little leather outfit with high heels and lipstick, and 3 other males dancing around in a, monumentally gay video.
Is that a legitimate?
It's like,
Is that a legitimate
oh yeah,
picture or
yeah.
video? No,
Yeah, I mean, there's
no
all sorts of stuff.
photoshopping
Yeah,
or
I mean,
anything?
no.
And since he was a comedian, was it done as comedy or was it who he was as a person?
No matter what it's done, why, as you mentioned with the black lady in the Supreme Court, why would was Zelensky a political genius while he was a comedian? There's so much history there that people need to be aware of.
Well,
I mean,
when most countries get invaded, the way Ukraine got invaded, the leader of that country beats feet to the closest airplane, the suitcases full of money, and gets the heck out of Dodge. So I have to admire Zelensky in the fact that he has stood his ground, he has stood with his people, and he has done his best to save Ukraine. So, regardless of his lipstick and high heels in the past, I do have respect for him that he didn't pick up and run when he had the opportunity to do so. I mean, Putin made it known he was coming for him, and he stood his ground. So, go ahead.
Well, remember who put him in power. We put him in power. Remember, he gets a lot of money to do that. Remember who's on whose border. Is that evil Putin on the American border threatening our people and our nation? No. Are we on his border? Yes. Have we been there for a while? Yes, a long time. Did we have any reason to be there? No.
And we're going to be there more so because we're now sending troops to Poland to stand guard at their borders.
Well, I'll tell you, if we successfully remove Putin and America cheers, we've probably given up our freedom. The hero in this thing isn't Zelensky. The guy who's fighting for freedom on this planet. If you ever listen to any of Putin's speeches, and you'll never have an opportunity to do that with the American press, and a guy like Edgar Casey was supposedly 85% accurate in his predictions, and he said it would be Russia that brings the world to peace, not America. And we are...
and that may or may not be in our lifetime.
I've got to, hopefully it will be. Hopefully this comes to a head fairly quickly. I mean, America, we push it as the the policeman for the world, and we all buy into that. But the question is, who asked us? Did anybody ask us, or did we kind of force that hand? Why do we have 800 external military bases if we're peaceful?
Well, some would say to keep the
Putin,
peace.
And who do we keep it with? I mean, people who want freedom, like Saddam Hussein wanted a gold-backed dinar for oil. And by the way, it's coming. We're not going to be the reserve currency anymore, and we're not going to be the petrodollar either. And there's a lot of people, back when JFK was the president, people admired and loved America. And if they didn't like America, they all respected it. If they were just anti-American, they at least respected the leadership back with JFK. Same thing with Reagan. And of course, Reagan got shot too, but not, not terminated.
By just some nutball who probably didn't even know why he was shooting him.
Well, again, my guess
I don't
would be
think Hinckley had
Reagan,
deep political ties. I think he was just somebody that was a little off balance, like the guy who attacked the Uvalde High School or elementary school.
Yeah, but they're all so timely, aren't they? It's just you think, boy, there's a whole lot of coincidences in our history. I mean, isn't it coincidental that if you watch the movie JFK, that it was the Teamsters or the Mafia or the CIA or the FBI or
I watched
Fidel
a movie
Castro.
the other day called The Irishman. Have you ever heard of that? It's an older
I think
movie. It's a
I think
great
I
movie. I recommended it to our audience. It's adult language and topics and whatnot, but it the star of the show is the guy that was specifically behind the quote-unquote disappearance of Jimmy Hoffa. So there's a story about the Irishman as a gangster, as a mafia wannabe, and then a mafia member, and it leads up to the Jimmy Hoffa disappearance. It's a pretty good movie, so if you've got some time to kill on Netflix over the weekend, check it out.
I think I saw that. It's only a couple of years ago. Isn't that with
De Niro, I think, isn't it?
yeah, De Niro. Yeah, that was a relatively recent movie, and I did see that. Yeah, the thing I was just going to mention, and I'm going to have to get off here. I think I've got some positions that I wanted to add to, but the thing I wanted to say is that when we get a news that stays with us day after day, pretty much 100% of them have been lies. The thing about Trump, they didn't want Trump to get together with Putin. Why? Because if Trump got together with Putin, we'd, number one, be able to stand up to China if need be successfully. And of course, they would stand up to the banksters, the guys that are doing all this, and the Klaus Schwab group. So they had to do that, and day after day, Trump did this horrible thing. Bottom line is he didn't do that. It wasn't the truth. Then shortly thereafter, they come up with COVID. COVID's not anything more than the flu. They'll tell you, but how is it that they had to pay people to motivate people on COVID? They paid the hospitals to have put people on ventilators. You know what happened in New York with the homes for the elderly and in Cuomo. This whole thing, they had to
the
pay
Navy
it.
hospital ship that sat vacant, and the temporary hospitals that were built sat empty. Yeah. I mean, those people could have been sent to that ship. They could have been sent to those temporary hospitals. Instead, they were sent to the old folks' home. Because population control is the agenda of the day, I believe, backed up and headed by one man called Bill Gates.
Yeah, exactly. And Bill Gates, I don't even think he can go to India anymore because they'll put him in jail. But I mean, you've got this stuff should be obvious to people, and it's not. The vaccine. Why did they have COVID-19? COVID-19 was there for no other reason than to introduce the vaccine. This all happened 100 years ago. You had a pandemic then. They introduced a vaccine. They had people wearing masks. The people learned 100 years ago that, gosh, masks are really bad. You know what? If I may, I'm hopefully can get on with you early next week.
Yeah, come back next week because the first half of this year, the S&P has dropped more than it ever has in the first half of a year in 50 years, the Dow in over 60 years. And I want to talk with you at some length about your 40-year, 80-year cycles.
Yeah, I really would like to do that. I've got, I thought the market would bottom today, and it looks like it is. So I need to add to some positions, but and I apologize. But
No, go do your work, and whatever day you want to come on next week, just send me a message, and we'll get you on.
Yeah, I look forward to that.
All right, buddy.
Thank you. Wish a good weekend to everybody, and my apologies.
No need to apologize. Have a great holiday.
Thanks, Dwayne. Bye.
Okay, we will go back to where we left off. You know what? We'll finish with those headlines real quick. The Supreme Court ruled yesterday, surprisingly, that President Biden can end former President Donald Trump's controversial Remain in Mexico immigration policy. The policy requires some non-Mexican citizens detained in the southern U.S. border to return to Mexico to await the outcome of their applications for asylum. Texas and Missouri challenged Biden's efforts to lift the policy, and lower courts blocked Biden from reversing it. But the Supreme Court ruled 5-4, well, that was a close one, that Biden had the authority to wind down the program. Chief Justice John Roberts wrote that an appeals court erred in holding that federal immigration law required the government to continue implementing the program, formerly known as Migrant Protection Protocols. So while we spend virtually zero on protecting our southern border, we send billions of dollars to places most of us couldn't find on a map to protect their borders. If you have a good reason for that, I'd love to hear it. President Biden said yesterday he would back suspending the Senate's filibuster rule, if necessary, to pass a federal law protecting abortion rights following the Supreme Court's decision overturning Roe v. Wade. I don't even have to tell you how wrong that is. Biden said, "I believe we have to codify Roe v. Wade into law, and the way to do that is to make sure Congress votes to do that." Well, you better get it done before September. Otherwise, that dog won't hunt. Under the filibuster rule, most bills have to clear a 60-vote threshold to reach a final vote. The Senate split 50-50. Democrats need their entire caucus plus 10 Republicans to meet that bar. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, Rhino from Kentucky, criticized Biden, accusing him of undermining equal justice, the rule of law. The 18-wheeler used in human smuggling attempts that left 53 people dead inside its sweltering trailer traveled through an inland U.S. Border Patrol checkpoint with 73 migrants inside. Now, we've already talked about this incredible tragedy where these 53 people died in the back of this tractor trailer. 18 were still alive when they were discovered and taken to the hospital. I don't know what the updates are on that. But the official speaking on condition of anonymity said it wasn't immediately clear whether the vehicle was stopped or passed unimpeded through the checkpoint on Interstate 35, 26 miles northeast of the border city of Laredo, Texas. 4 suspects so far have been arrested in connection with the tragedy, including the alleged driver of the truck, Homero Zamorano Jr. The Justice Department said Zamorano, 45, was found in a field near the truck, pretending to be one of the smuggled migrants who survived. A Florida judge yesterday temporarily blocked the state's new law banning all abortions after 15 weeks of pregnancy. The decision follows last week's Supreme Court ruling overturning Roe v. Wade, the 1973 decision that established federal abortion protections. Planned Parenthood of America, the Center for Reproductive Rights, and the American Civil Liberties Union had sued Florida earlier this month in a bid to stop the law, which Republican Governor Ron DeSantis signed in April. The plaintiffs argue the law violates a state constitutional amendment barring the government from intruding on personal people's lives. The 15-week ban is set to take effect Friday, today, and it could be in place A few days before the judge's paperwork is finalized, the state obviously will appeal. A barrage of Russian missiles killed at least 19 people and wounded dozens more near Ukraine's Black Sea port of Odessa on Friday, today, days after a similarly deadly strike on a shopping mall in central Ukraine. 3 of the missiles on Friday hit a 9-story apartment building. Another hit a resort. The strikes came a day. Now, either this is intentional on the part of Russia, or they have really bad aim. You decide. The strikes came a day after Ukraine reclaimed control of nearby Snake Island, a victory that had been expected to lower the threat level in Odessa 80 miles away. The island became a symbol of Ukrainian resistance when soldiers posted there refused to surrender to the Russian Navy, radioing Russian warships, "Go F yourself," that's in quotes. Russia said it was giving up the island to allow grain exports as a goodwill gesture. Thank you very much. North Korea, not to be left out, on Friday blamed the isolated communist-run nation's first COVID-19 outbreak on alien things people touched near the South Korean border. Pyongyang ordered North Korea citizens to vigilantly deal with alien things coming by wind and other climate phenomena and balloons in the areas along with the demarcation line and borders, according to the official KCNA news agency. North Korean defectors in South Korea have sent balloons carrying leaflets and humanitarian aid over the heavily fortified borders for decades. North Korea said an 18-year-old soldier and a 5-year-old kindergartner tested positive for COVID-19 in April after coming into contact with just such materials. South Korea's Unification Ministry said there was no possibility the virus could be transmitted through leaflets. And U.S. basketball star Brittany Griner's trial started today in a Russian court. Griner, who plays for the WNBA's Phoenix Mercury, was arrested on drug smuggling charges after Russian authorities accused her of trying to carry cannabis vape cartridges through security in a Moscow airport. Now, this happened as she was leaving Russia, not entering Russia. She could face 10 years in prison if convicted. Her wife, Sherelle, has said Griner is a political pawn and called for President Biden to negotiate her release. Russian media have suggested the Kremlin might release her in exchange for Russian arms trader Viktor Bout, now serving a 25-year sentence for conspiring to kill U.S. citizens and providing aid to a terrorist organization. And in our final headline, if you got plans for the holiday weekend, airlines that have struggled with canceled and delayed flights over the last 2 holidays face a fresh test of their ability to handle crowds as travelers flock to airports over the 4th of July weekend. Air travel has rebounded to near pre-pandemic levels. Thunderstorms caused sporadic disruption in the days before the weekend rush. American Airlines had to scrap 8% of its Tuesday and Wednesday flights, according to a site called FlightAware. United Airlines canceled 4%. Travelers who plan to drive will face near record fuel prices. The nationwide average gas price hit a nominal all-time high of $5.02 per gallon in mid-June and was $4.86 a gallon on Thursday, according to AAA. I did see a gas sign here in Phoenix a couple days ago that was just under $5 a gallon. So let's go back to where we were on the NQ chart. Okay. Here's where the market opened. We pulled up to the BBC and the weekly trading zone. Now when price rises to the BBC, we expect resistance. When price rises to a weekly trading zone, we expect resistance. So that's what we call resistance times 2. We had red and falling as that happened. And once we triggered 11,448, we put in a low at 11,382. So 48 to 32, 16 points at $20 a point. $320 per contract traded. We did get back above the trigger and we dropped again. Now on the candle that we were dropping on, okay, that's the very candle. On this candle we had red and falling. And we dropped to 11,389 and a quarter. But then the next candle, as you can see, we hit. Always remember, when red and falling gets directly below price, it has a very high potential of becoming support because it tells you that red and falling is about to turn into blue and climbing, which we know is support, potential support, as you can see on that candle right there. This was a red candle. Came all the way down to blue and climbing, then reversed and got back above the BBC. And then we had a lot of consolidation here. We got below the BBC, and from 448 we dropped to 430. That's 18 points, $20 a point, $360 per contract traded. I don't think I calculated this first one right. 448 minus 381. That would be 48, 20, 68. That's closer to $1,400. Well, we'll call it $1,300 per contract traded. That's what the market made available. And if you look at these lows here and look left, that support comes as no surprise, right? Get back above the BBC, we pull back, we get a little drop, get back above the BBC, we get another little drop down to 434, which is certainly nothing to sneeze at. Then we run up to the zone overhead, which did become resistance even though we spiked it. And then we came back down through the trigger again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again. All of those were opportunities to get your goal for the day. However, what I really want you to understand is on the open last night, when the market pulled up to the BBC and the weekly zone and found resistance, there was plenty of room to get your goal for the day before we even got to the trigger. The CTAs are designed as forward guidance for the entire session. And once issued, the numbers are good for the entire session, just like the weekly zones are good for the entire week. Okay? So there's no reason in the world you couldn't have got your goal for the day before we got to the trigger. But once we got to the trigger, well, then there was $1,400 there on the table. We had red and falling, we're below BBC. Everything was properly aligned. We even got rejected at the step line here. So an entry in this area down to the trigger would have been more than the goal of most people on any given day. Alright, that covers all the indices. Let's go to crude oil. We did have two-sided action. We opened here last night, pulled up to the zone and the BBC, both of which we expect to be resistance times 2. Down we go, red and falling, and we go right to the target. 104.95 to 104.65. That's $300 per contract traded. And then we got back above the trigger, dropped again from 104.95 to 104.75, $200 per contract traded. And we got above the BBC, above the zone, off we go. Our first trigger took us from 108.05 to 108.23. $180 per contract traded. And we got back below the trigger, and this time we came just shy of the target. The high was 108.94. So basically $1,800 per contract traded. Then we pull back to the BBC, the pullback holds. But not all triggers are created equal. As you can see, when we trigger here and here, we've got red and falling in the picture. Now price did overcome red and falling and continue up to the zone. And so our more experienced traders will know how to handle this type of price action. If you're just getting started, give it a little time, because our methodology and strategy and reading our indicators is really quite simple. But it's not going to all happen overnight. So, I mean, if you're looking to pay the mortgage at the end of the month, that's probably not going to happen with us. Just being honest. Okay, what we're teaching you is everything you need to know and providing you with the tools you need to carve out a new career path. Okay? We know how long it takes to become a doctor or a dentist, even a plumber, electrician, a barista. Okay? It takes a little time. Okay? And I sent out a tweet yesterday. Learn how to trade in just 1 hour. You see that all over the internet. You see it on websites. You see it in emails you get. What an insult that is to people who have dedicated much time and much treasure to learn how to trade. These people behind these websites and these emails, they're more interested in your money than you are. Please, whether you learn from us or from some other respected teaching authority, don't fall for the scams. There's so many out there. And the ad copy is so compelling. And the photoshopped videos are, again, so compelling and so impressive. It almost makes it hard to say no. But you got to use good judgment. If trading were easy, if you could learn how to trade in an hour, everybody would be a trader. It's not that easy. Let me just say it, trading's not easy. But it can be simple. And with the addition of the ribbon to the indicator platform, it's becoming even simpler. But again, You got to take time, trade and sim, prove to yourself that you understand how to use what's been provided for you before you put real money to work. And unless you're willing to exercise that kind of patience and self-discipline, you'll never become a consistently profitable trader. Our free trial is at eminitrainingschool.com. There's no credit card required. You simply go there, plug in your name, your email, your phone number. We never sell your email. We never share your phone number. Okay? That phone number part, that shows us that you're actually serious about learning how to trade. Because we want to focus our energy and our time and our resources on those who are really serious about learning how to trade. Not the looky-loos, okay? There are people who've been on the hunt for the magic grail, for the holy grail, so long, they don't know anything else. All they know is the hunt. In fact, if they actually found success, it might make them a little sad because they've been hunting for so long, they no longer have to hunt. Hopefully they get over it. So, we traded down at the target here. We almost hit the target here. Target was 109. We made it to 108.94. Price pulled back. But again, you got to let price get above red and falling before you consider going long. And then we dipped below the trigger again. Same thing. And ran all the way to the target. And then some. On gold. Here's where the market opened, just at the weekly trading zone. And then we dropped. And we had a couple small triggers. 1802 took us down 90 bucks. And then we got back above the trigger. This drop right here took us all the way to the target to the tick. Now, the zone itself is 1791/92. That's 10 points at $100 a point. You're looking at $1,000 per contract traded, from the published entry to the published target. Do that 5 times and you've paid for your passport, which is lifetime membership. Never expires, has no recurring fees, no upsells, no gotchas, none of that garbage. You have access to a live teacher every trading day for 2 hours. You get to watch them put on and take off trades across various markets, explaining every move they make, every trade they take, and the rule behind it. What you learn in the live training room is a mechanical model, okay, which makes things real simple. Then, and you can earn your living and build your career off the mechanical model. If you choose to move into the world of discretionary trading, you can book mentoring sessions with me and I will help you with that, okay? But it's not necessary. The mechanical model can provide you with everything you need. So we come down to the target, we catch a bounce, we come back down to the target, then we get back above the trigger. We find resistance at the zone. Just as yesterday, we found support at the zone. Once we get below it, it becomes resistance, resistance, resistance. We spiked it, but it was indeed resistance. And then we dropped. Now, you got blue and climbing right at the short trigger. You do not want to take that trade, okay? Because you got 2 very important things contradicting each other. There's too much opportunity in the markets to take a shot or just roll the dice. We'll teach you how to find windows of opportunity that represent high probability, low risk trade opportunities. If you want to gamble, go to Vegas. They have beautiful cocktail waitresses and free cocktails and shows, and depending on how much you lose, or win, I guess, they give you a free suite. What we do has nothing to do with gambling. It embraces the fact that this is a business based on probabilities. Now, the reason casinos flourish and do so well is because they've established a set of rules that put the probabilities in their favor. And so what our methodology and strategy and indicators do is they put the probabilities in your favor. It's pretty simple. We come up, find resistance, we come back down, blue and climbing, not a trade. Right now, the high probability move would be from where we are, 1807 up to the zone at 1808. That's $100 per contract traded. Now, when you first become a passport holder, you're going to start trading right away in the live training room. But you're going to trade in sim until you put together 10 consecutive days in a row where you reach your goal in 10 trades or less. Once you accomplish that, our 2420 blueprint will give you the green light to go live with one contract. Your goal then is to increase your account balance by $2,000. Once you do that, the blueprint will give you the green light to add a second contract. The big difference between contract number 1 and contract number 2 is number 1 is funded with your startup capital, but number 2 is funded with profit you earned in the market. The blueprint will tell you when it's time to add number 3, number 4, number 5, number 10. But you only add one at a time, and you only add with profit you earned in the market. The blueprint shows you how to build a successful trading business. Now, no matter how much information we give you and indicators we provide you with, just simply becoming a passport holder doesn't guarantee your success as a trader. I know lots of places promise you if you buy this, buy that, you're gonna become a gazillionaire. You already know that's not true, okay? And so it's a process learning how to trade. And the blueprint walks you through that process. Teaches you how to write your business plan, how to write your trading plan, which are two very different documents. And it also lets you know when it's time to add another contract. And again, you only add one at a time, and you only add with profit you earn in the market. If you follow that, it makes it much more difficult to blow up another account. So the next high probability move here, because we're above the BBC, we've got blue and climbing, would be back up to the zone. What happens after that depends upon what happens when we get to the zone, if in fact we do get back to the zone. Silver, no trigger on the long side. Now, 2 pennies is $100 per contract traded. The trigger was 2011. The first trigger took us to 2010 and a half. Okay. Then we get back above the trigger, and on the second drop, we go all the way to the target. From 1960 to 2011. That's 51 pennies. 2 pennies is $100, so that's over $2,500 per contract traded. This is the lowest weekly trading zone this week for silver. So we've spiked it, gotten back above it. Now, when we exceed the lowest weekly zone or the highest weekly zone, there have been weeks since December 14th of 2009 where we close the week below the lowest or above the highest weekly zone. But those have been, pretty rare, but they happen. As you can see, even though we dipped below the lowest weekly zone, we're now back above it. We're above the VBC, and it looks like the market wants to move higher. Just watch out for this pinch. If you go long, you can because you got blue and climbing, you're above the VBC. If you choose to go long, just keep in mind that this area here, about 1985, is potential resistance. Okay? And that would have us, potentially closing the week above the lowest weekly zone. On the euro, here's where the market opened. We came down to the trigger and we dropped below it. 25 points or so. Takes nothing to get excited about. We pull back to the BBC. The pullback holds. Down we come again. This time from 5070, we dropped to 4980. That's $125 per contract traded. And then we get back above the trigger, drop again. This time we don't quite make it to the trade to target, but we do put in a low at 04900. Now 100 ticks, $125 per contract traded. This would be 170. And then we get back above the trigger, we drop again, get back above trigger. See, every one of these pullbacks to the BBC has held. Okay, and then we make the drop all the way to the target from 5070 to 4870, and then some. Now this is the lowest weekly trading zone for euro. Will buyers be motivated enough to drive the market higher and get us back above the lowest weekly trading zone? It's possible. First step would be, we've already got blue and climbing, the first step would be to get above the BBC, and then we have to get above the weekly trading zone. And the final market, 30-year bonds. The open was here. Okay. And the long trigger took us from 138.12 up to a high of 138.29. That's a real nice move for bonds. Then we get back below the trigger, and you got red and falling right at the trigger. So you got to be patient, let price get above red and falling, maybe even wait for it to turn to blue and climbing. And then this move from 138.18 to 141.11, that's what they call a whopper. That's the big one that didn't get away. We pulled back to the BBC. The BBC held. However, we do have red and falling overhead, so we'll see where we end up for the week. And that does it for all the markets. One last look at the daily chart. Okay, we've turned green, that doji. Okay, remember, historically, markets will rally into a U.S. holiday weekend. I'm not going to go on record saying that's what's going to happen today. I'm just, as I shared in the discussion group this morning, that's a historical thing. Does it happen all the time? No. Does it happen more often than not? Yes. Could this be the day that we break history? Yes. And that's it. You already know how to take the free trial if you've never taken it. Once you've taken your free trial, to become a lifetime member, go to eminifuturestrading.com. It's pretty self-explanatory. A couple mouse clicks, you're a passport holder, and Valerie goes to work sending you out all the information that you need, all the links, your demo platform, your indicators, everything. Okay? If you have a question, once you get to the sign-up page, you can call Valerie at 949-42-EMINI or send an email to support@cfrn.net. Never forget, 9 out of new traders fail because they don't have someone to teach them how to do the job. And you might say, yeah, but I bought all these videos. I bought all these books. We have nothing against videos or books, but they are not a substitute for a living, breathing teacher in real time in an interactive environment where you can ask questions. Well, what does that mean? Well, why did you do that? Now what are you going to do? Follow me? The difference between having a live teacher and watching videos or reading a book, there's just no comparison. Along with having a live teacher 2 hours a day, every trading day for life, you also have access to unlimited one-on-one private mentoring. And when we say lifetime, there's no fine print. And when we say unlimited, there's no fine print. Unlimited means unlimited. New members might book a couple sessions a week, one-on-one. And as time goes on, it drops to one a week, and then every other week, and then just when you need help. You also have around-the-clock support, 24/7, via our various Telegram discussion groups, whether you're a member or even on the free trial. The methodology and strategy we teach you, the indicators we provide you, work equally as well on the futures markets as they do with stocks, Forex, and crypto. As a lifetime member, you'll also receive the Logic 247 alerts around the clock, the concierge trade alerts. You'll be able to attend the Thursday night members-only workshops. It really is everything a trader needs, all under one roof at one low price. There's a lot of self-appointed gurus out there who have such clever ad copy, they can convince you to pay them $5,000 for an hour of their time. Now, let's be honest, if you could actually learn how to trade in an hour, $5,000 would be a steal, an absolute bargain. But the reality is, if you've been around more than 5 minutes, you know that's just not possible. Now, after you spend that money for that 1 hour, 2 days later when you have a question, you're going to have to cut another check. With us, once you purchase your passport for less than what the guru charges for 1 hour, your lifetime membership never expires, has no recurring fees, no upsells, no gotchas, zip, zero, nada. Everything a trader needs, all under one roof, at one low price. True story. All right. For the last 6 days, we've talked about what happens when you die. It's not something we, typically want to think about or dwell on, but it's something we're all going to face unless Jesus comes back first. So today our topic changes, and the title is Begin to Say What God Says. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Proverbs 18:21. Don't speak without thinking. And don't say things that contradict God's word. Those aren't easy principles to live by, but they are life and death issues. The Bible says death and life are in the power of the tongue. That means you can bless yourself by what you say. He who invokes a blessing on himself shall do so by saying, this is from Isaiah 65:16 in the Amplified, may the God of truth bless me, because the former troubles are forgotten. Now I want you to notice two important things we learn in the scripture. Number one, your own words have more power to influence you than anyone else's words. In the final analysis, it's not what others say that matters, it's what you tell yourself when they're finished talking. Bottom line, you always have the last word. Number two, you will never enter into what God has planned for your future while you're still living in the past. Now, you can't undo your past, so don't relive it over and over in your head. That's what the enemy wants you to do. He wants to convict you because of your past. God said in Isaiah 43:18, don't remember the former things. Don't dwell on the things of the past. Watch. I am about to carry out something new. It's time to come into agreement with God and start saying what He says about you. Now that's no small matter. What you say from the time you get up in the morning until you go to bed at night not only influences your day, it influences the entire outlook and direction of your life. If you have been praying and asking God for specific answers, you can affect the outcome by making sure what you say lines up with what He says. So when you speak, always keep that in mind. I hope you have a great holiday weekend. Reminder, markets will be closed Monday. So there will not be a live training room or an afternoon broadcast on Monday. However, God willing, Sunday night when the Globex markets open, because 4th of July is only a U.S. holiday, there will be logic alerts, concierge trade alerts, and the weekly trading zones, which typically come out Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Because of the Monday holiday, will come out Tuesday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. So make sure you have access to the weekly trading zone channel in Telegram. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.